welcome back to another episode of Sis Podcast. Join us for some honest and authentic conversations with your sisters. I'm Amanda, and this is Cerise, and we're your hosts for today and for always.
For always, I was going to say, yeah, definitely for always.
And today's episode 3, and we are talking all about falling in love young.
Yes. If you guys listened to us earlier, just say, if you guys have listened to all of our other episodes, you will know that we both got married at age 23, hence the conversation. So go on, Amanda, what were you saying?
We both got young. We got married young, but we fell in love even younger than that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, teenage life and kind of just navigating that, tell you a bit of our story. But before we get into that, as always, Cerise, I want to know how you're doing.
I'm good. I am doing well. No complaints from this side, to be honest. I can't complain. I'm doing well, thank God. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm feeling a little bit nervous actually at the moment.
Do tell.
So tomorrow I go to London with my kids and my parents for this conference. I can't remember if I mentioned it on here or not before. But anyway,
maybe
I'm going down to for a conference, finally switching on my doctor brain again. It's been quite a few months. And my parents are coming so that the girls don't have, so that I can be with them in the night. But in the daytime, I'm not going to be there. And it's the first time I've done this with Athena.
Big deal. We have spoken about being apart from the little babies on this before, but yeah, big deal. If it's all day, then
it's like 3 days in a row from 8 till 5.
That's a full-time job, hun.
Yeah, I'm just a bit nervous. She's only 4 months. And I didn't do this with Isabella because it was the pandemic.
Yeah. So everybody was locked away.
Yeah, I feel like a first-time mom. These nerves. Kind of annoying. But it'll be fine. I feel a bit guilty. I feel a bit nervous, but I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. It's a necessary hump that you need to get over because obviously there's going to be other times that you're going to be doing a similar thing.
Absolutely. So you just got to do it. But I was just complaining to Teresa a minute ago, guys, about packing. When you have children.
Yes, I'm going through the same thing right now, packing for my holiday. If you remember the last episode, yes, I am packing for my holiday. So yeah, I get you. It's long. For kids, it's long.
There's just so many eventualities you've got to think about, and it's annoying me. But
yeah, it's like you said, is it going to be hot? Is it going to be cold? Or they might need a long sleeve. They probably would need a short sleeve too. It doesn't matter what country you go to, guys. Kids have a different thermometer. They are different altogether. So,
And watch them drop. They're going to drop their food on themselves. Just something's going to happen.
Poo explosions. So there we go.
You've got to pack so many things, and it's just annoying. So packing for them at the moment. But actually, I'm just complaining for the sake of complaining. I'm doing fine.
You're doing good.
I'm good. Yeah.
There we go. I'm glad you're doing good. It's about to be a great episode. So if you don't feel good now, you'll definitely feel great afterwards. But yeah, so all about falling in love young. Now, love is always subjective, but before we get into the meat of the episode, because I was just racing there. Let's talk about win of the week.
The win of the week. Make a little jingle.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, that sounds like a Jamaican dance hall trumpet thing that they always wear. Yeah. But anyways, what was your win of this week? Or what has a win for you been?
So I wish I was doing more interesting stuff to have better wins, but I'm going to go with, I'm back on it now. I'm back on the meal prepping. I am someone that is all about bulk cooking because I enjoy cooking, but I do not
enjoy cooking every day.
Every day you're doing it, and I don't enjoy the conversation, what's for dinner? That question.
Yeah. You go in and you just stare at the cupboards like...
Yeah. No. And so what I used to do... Yeah. You're saying there, what am I going to make?
And therefore, you're just like... No.
You've just done the food shopping and you're what am I going to make?
It's just long.
Yeah, so that conversation, I'm just not here for it. And so I like to bulk cook because if I cook every day, it will take me an hour to cook every day, right? Or maybe a little bit more.
Oh, yeah, more than that. Because you want to be, you who loves to experiment in the kitchen.
Exactly, every day doing that. But when I bulk cook or meal prep, it takes me 2 to 3 hours and I'm done for the entire week. And so I've been getting back into that, and I'm really proud of myself. My win of the week is that yesterday I meal prepped. Even though there's people around the house, I had like my friends over. I still said I'm going to meal prep. So I meal prepped with my whole house full of people, and I meal prepped for our trip to London. Like, I've never done that before, like meal prep takeaway. I felt so organized, like on top of things.
Super mum. Sorry guys,
Yeah,
I'm about to
nothing else
sip my
is packed.
water. About to sip my water from a very ghetto bottle. You know, usually we have glasses on this, but hey, today.
You know what? I nearly had a bottle today, and I thought, no, come on, Amanda, walk downstairs. But yeah, so that's my win of the week. Being like, meal prepping, getting back organized, getting into a flow of things. What about you, Cerise? What's your win?
Thinking about this now, my win of the week. I thought of it earlier, and now it's gone out of my head. What has my win of the week been? Oh, okay, yeah. So today I started officially packing for my holiday. You guys are going to hear about this holiday until it happens. And probably hear about it until it happens, like after it happens and everything, because it's just going to be great. But
we can all live vicariously through you.
Yeah, I know, right? I started packing today properly. So, you know, roll in and like, I don't know. This is a good question. Do we roll or do we just flat pack? I don't know. But anyway, apparently it's the same volume, guys. Doesn't make a difference. But yeah, today I was rolling up my clothes.
Apparently it does make a difference. I don't know which
in terms of how much you can fit in there. Maybe.
Yeah, apparently it does.
I don't know. It's still the same weight, guys. Don't let them fool you.
Yeah, same weight.
But yeah, I started packing today and putting all my stuff in, organising what outfit's going to be for what day. I was sending Amanda pictures of it, obviously myself. Yeah, I was looking clapped in it, but it's okay. Like I'm going to lose a tiny bit more weight.
Listen, so Daryl, Mr. Moore is going to be in for a treat because Cerise is looking spicy on this holiday.
Listen, I'm not playing games. This is my first holiday in how many years because of this whole COVID thing. So definitely not playing. Going all out, 100%. But yeah, win of the week. So I started packing. I started packing for my holiday, and I feel great about it. You know, they say like the journey of 1,000 miles, the first step, that whole thing. Yeah, that's how I felt today. I felt like, you know, it's going to be long to pack. It's going to be so laborious. But I've stepped out and I've done quite a bit today. So now the rule is anything that's getting washed, like all the clothes that are going to get washed, I'm just going to I'm not going to put them away. I'm just going to put them straight in the suitcase. Whatever is necessary for the holiday. Why am I putting clothes away? We all know it takes like 10 working days after you actually wash to put clothes away. So I'm going to put them straight into my suitcase. Yeah, that's the rule.
Cerise, actually, you know what? I should change the win of my week. Saying that about laundry, I had about 8 loads of laundry that I hadn't put away. I'm not even exaggerating.
Guys.
And I put them all away. I put them away this weekend.
That's an
I'm
not even
exaggerating. It was insane because like the washing was building up. I was like, Raph, we need to get through it. And so Raph went ham on the laundry. And listen, anyway, but yeah, that's a good win of the week.
Yeah. Great win of the week. These are reality. These realistic wins, guys. No one's at some point. I guess it will be. I don't know. Get more extravagant.
We're gonna have a big win sometime. You know, like I went on holiday and I had the best time of my life.
Yeah, that'll be the win for that week. Yeah, that'll be the win for that week. So definitely.
Yeah. Now, Cerise, next jingle, please. Come on, quick, music lady.
Same thing. Just a variation, mate.
Moving on to the next segment. It's a random question of the week. You know we love to do these. And because this episode is all about love and beautiful things like that.
Oh, smush.
I've gone for a nice little smushy one. Cerise, I want to know, what is the most beautiful thing you have seen? Whether it's a place that you've gone or something you've seen, like what is like the most beautiful scene that you can think of? Also, if it's not, and you know what, if you can't think of the top one because that's a hard one, what is like
something beautiful?
Something that stands out to you that you remember it being like really beautiful.
Do you know what? I'm not a nature person per se. When I say that, I mean I'm not into like the great outdoors and doing all that stuff yet. But I tell you, when I went to Dubai, and everything is just manicured out there. Like you're driving around a roundabout and the flowers just look perfect. Like that stuff, I thought, wow. The buildings, I think when I went to Dubai, I was just overwhelmed with opulence.
Yeah, that's the word, isn't it, for Dubai? Opulence.
And you know what, at some point I got a bit sick of it. I was like, this is boring now. But I was overwhelmed. I remember seeing the mosque in Abu Dhabi. the big mosque.
Okay.
I went there. Well, we all went there, and looking at it from the outside with the sun hitting it, and it was all this white marble and everything. I just thought, wow, this is beautiful. So that is one thing I can say is really, really beautiful, and that has stood out to me. And that's what that's something I can remember. But I always see beautiful things. I know a lot of people are into sunsets and stuff. I think they're beautiful, but I don't sort of like have a hernia over them. But like I do appreciate nature. But yeah, Dubai, I think so many beautiful things there. Even just the water, like everything, just you felt like you were in utopia. You felt like heaven on earth.
Yeah.
That's how you feel when you're there, because you think this is just so, everything's so lush. They have every restaurant you could ever think of. You can eat what you want. It's like the malls are open till midnight. You've got the musical fountain, the whole thing. Everything. Yeah.
Oh, I love those musical fountains.
Yeah, it was
when
great.
I went to the musical fountains, they played one of my favorite songs.
What did they play?
When I went there?
Sorry. What did they play?
I can't remember like the title of it, but I pray you.
Do you know what? You sing it.
No, so
just one, like, guys. If you want to hear Amanda sing, we'll take money.
It's like a man and a woman, and they're like repeating each other. I pray you find a way. Like,
that's the Donny McClurkin and Yolanda Adams song.
Yeah. There we go. Sing it. Go on.
Guess what?
They played that when you were there.
Yep.
I love it so much. I remember I was standing there. I was like, "That's my song." And I did sing it.
You did? Well, you can sing it for us now. We've got
No,
time.
I like singing. I'm not singing the mic. Like, I'm not. Stop. Leave me alone.
All right, fine. Guys, she's getting off this time. Don't worry. Next episode.
Okay.
Episodes.
We're not going to man singing. Yeah, moving on, please. Okay. My most beautiful thing that I've seen. I don't know what the most beautiful is, but you said about people having hernias over sunsets. That's my husband. My husband loves the sunset. He'll just go out there and take pictures. Like,
really?
Yeah. Like, if it's a good sunset, literally outside the front door,
he'll
be out there taking it. Yeah.
Raph.
Oh, so funny. But I think one of the best things I've seen, we had a little holiday to Iceland, and we went in like January, dead of winter. So this is my first cold holiday. I never thought that you should take a cold holiday. Mm-hmm. It sounded like an oxymoron to me.
Yeah,
but
actually, I know what you mean.
It's one of the best trips I've ever had. I think probably my favorite trip I've ever done. And we saw the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis.
Ah, yes.
And it was beautiful, but I don't know if it was the most beautiful thing, but it was one of the most memorable things that I've seen. And like, we were proper hunting them like the whole trip.
Yeah,
and
trying to get to see them.
And on the last night we saw it, and that was amazing. That, and also in there when we were in Iceland too, something else amazing that I saw was the geysers, like the hot water springs when they shoot up.
Yeah.
I remember we were stood the next one, we were waiting for ages to the point where we were like, should we just go now? And then it did it, and it literally like took my breath away. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean,
like, surprised me.
Yeah, I think nothing can ever beat natural beauty.
Yeah, like the waterfalls out there. Oh,
I need to go to Iceland. I need to go.
Yeah, and you know what? Going winter, I know it's cold, but it was amazing.
It's worth it, right?
There was like 3 hours of sunlight a day.
That's cool.
It was just so sick. And going to the waterfalls, like you could stand literally, you'd walk up to the waterfall and the little droplets from the waterfall would like be freezing on you. So you have your hood up and everything, and like it's all freezing on your back. You know what? It was amazing. Iceland, hands down, one of the most beautiful countries. 100%, yeah.
Okay, well, there we go. Things of beauty, guys. What is the most beautiful thing you have seen? Or and don't say a person, because that's like super cheesy.
Yeah. Okay, if you want to pick a person, my kids, they're like beautiful.
I was gonna say that my kids, but
my kids are gorgeous. But no, we want something that you think we should see as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So leave that for us on our Instagram. We'll be putting a poll up as always. And so if you're not following us over there, remember it's at so.sis.podcast over on Instagram. But let's get into the episode, Falling in Love Young.
Yeah.
I think the reason, so it was me that I think I was brought up to doing this episode. And the reason I wanted to do it is a few weeks ago, if you've been following along, we did an episode about the hashtag relationship goals.
Oh, yes,
and
we did.
Sometimes people see longevity in relationships as success in relationships. And I've seen people refer to me and my husband as hashtag relationship goals because we've been together since we were however young.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, that's part of it. And yes, there are some really beautiful parts to falling in love young and like building together, but there is also
A difficult
caveats
side.
to it. There are
Yeah.
some difficult sides of it, and I thought it'd be nice to explore that and give a bit more of a balance on what it's like to fall in love young. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
We can start off with like a really brief kind of overview of what our love story is. Cerise, you go first. Like,
So, oh wow. Okay, so I met Daryl when I was 16, call it 16. Um, 15, tail end of 15, going in 16. And we met at church. So we were just like seeing each other and like, you know, you kind of think, oh, that person's nice, you know, but you don't think anything of it. I actually had just come back from Jamaica. So I was fresh from Jamaica and he had just come over. Obviously we didn't come over together. We didn't know each other out there. So we were actually out there at the same time, but didn't know each other existed. But he had just come over and I had just returned. So I had still had a bit of like freshie in me, holiday freshie, of course. And he was 100% freshie. But yeah, we met at church and we were quite young and, yeah, we just kind of started chatting and whatever. There was a concert that I was sort of performing at, and I invited him to the concert because actually, aside from everything else, I'm quite a friendly person. Aside from like the romance and whatever else, I was quite friendly. So I thought, you know, it's a new person at church, I'll invite him to this concert and whatever. But things were kind of moving in a different direction. Whether or not we actually wanted them to. So, you know, kind of got quite close, sort of best friendsy kind of in a way, like really chatting a lot and whatever. And having lots of stimulating conversations, which I really, really appreciate. And after that, I think he kind of we said, oh, okay. Oh yeah. So this was interesting. So we had a Christmas play at church and I ended up being Mira and he was Joseph. Ha 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 ha. So nice. You know, it was really nice actually. And from there on, we just ended up just chatting. Then one day he was like, oh yeah, can you be my girlfriend? And I'm like, yeah, all right then.
and that when you were 16?
Yeah. And then
how old was Daryl?
He was 18.
Okay.
So, and then that was just it. We just, yeah. That, you know, and ever since then, obviously having your ups and your downs, but we're going to get to that sort of pros cons bit in a second. Yeah. But yeah, that's how we met at church. He came to the church because that's where his parents attended, and that's where we met.
And so have you two been together ever since, like since you started going out?
Yeah, but there's been like a break like once, which never really lasted any length of time. But that's just because you had like ups and downs. I just say that's a down moment as opposed to whatever. But we have pretty much been together ever since. Okay. So that's like 13 years or something like that. Yeah.
Beautiful.
What about you?
Okay, so for me, I moved to Leeds. So my husband's from Leeds, and I went to university in Leeds.
Oh, there we go.
And so I moved there when I was 19, and I started going to church there. And I remember we both remember the first time we saw each other. Yeah, I was 19. I went to a Bible study, or it was like, I think Youth Day was coming up, and it was like a prep for Youth Day. I've been going there like a month or so, and I walked in, I sat next to a friend, and I said to him, who is that guy? I've not seen him before, because I was like, he is beautiful. And I was like, who is he? And he's like, oh yeah, his name's Raf. And I was like, oh. And the thing is, because church is like such a small world, I'd actually, when people heard that I was going to Leeds Uni, a lot of people were telling me about, oh, there's a guy called Raf up there, like you might know him, like you might meet him, and blah blah.
The church
like
is kind of small like that, yeah,
a friend of ours. And so I'd heard about this guy called Raf, but I hadn't met him yet, and that's the first time I saw him. And apparently, when he saw me, then he knew at that moment, this is the girl.
Do you know what? Funny, Daryl said the same thing, and he said it ever since. He said to me, he knew when he saw me, I'm going to marry that girl.
Yeah, Raf says this too. It's like something just told him, like when he saw me then, and we both like remember the moment we saw each other. And then from then, like, you know, I'm at uni. He's one of the youths there. He was 23. He's 4 years older than me. And he was like working at the time. He wasn't like studying or anything like that. And we used to like have Friday night Bible studies at one of our friends' house, and I'd see him there. And then one of our friends it was his birthday. and I was organising like a birthday meal for him, and so I got Raf's number to invite him. I got loads of people's number for it, but then from the time I
you
texted him,
intentionally got Raf's number.
no, I actually intentionally. I swear this is what Raf said all the time. But I literally text everyone the exact same text. But Raf just kept the conversation going.
Okay.
And so from then we didn't stop talking. So it was like in February we started texting, and I don't think we've gone a day without talking probably since then. And I guess like, and then we started officially going out in April. Like I went home for Easter, and when the day I came back, we started going out. And that's it from 19. So, what's that? 11 years?
Yeah, 11 years, mad.
Yeah, coming up to 11 years.
Yeah. That is a length of time. I mean, anything that at this age, anything that's been going for that long, it's just like, yeah, that's substantial. Because we're like 30.
Exactly.
You know, so that is proper time. You guys have done your time, Bun. Like proper. Yeah. Put in the work.
And so exactly. So we've been married 7 years now, and you guys are nearly 6 years, right?
Yeah, nearly 6. Yeah.
Yeah, like next month, is it?
Yeah, next month. Yeah. 9th of October, guys.
Yeah, and we were 7 years last month.
Send us money. Sorry. I don't know where that came from. As if you guys want to give us gifts for our anniversary, whatever. But
you can if you like.
Yeah, you can. Definitely.
But yeah, so that's our kind of story. And so yes, both of us. You were younger. You were 16. I was 19. And there are some really wonderful parts of getting with somebody young. And I guess we can start exploring that first of all, and then we move on to some of the not the more challenging,
not glamorous,
the not glamorous parts of getting together with somebody so young.
Yeah.
I think for me, something that is really a beautiful part of it is that we really grow together.
Yeah.
So if I was to be dating now, or looking for a partner now, or later on in my 20s, what I would expect from my partner would be so different. Like, especially like once I'd finished uni and had a career and stuff, I'd be expecting people to meet me on those levels.
Yeah, and also have a career and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, like the expectations of where I expect us to be going out on dates, or like the way in which we interact together. But when I was young, I was 19, first like just moved out, gone to uni and everything. The expectations were like, oh, wants someone that's ambitious, or like, has that ambition, or wants to go somewhere that has goals and dreams. Whereas if I'm 30, I don't just want you to be ambitious. I want you to like have achieved something.
Yeah, put it in action. Yeah.
But when you're 19, your early 20s and stuff, you can you've kind of got that space for like dreaming a bit more, or, not expecting
because you're not
established.
Package. You're not really
established. You're not established yet.
Yeah.
And so it's really nice that we've actually been able to grow together. Like, we've literally gone from like my entire adult life I have been with Raf.
Yeah.
And I've gone from someone that was like quite shy in the beginning to like a bit more, like a lot more self-assured and confident, and I feel like a different person now
than you were when you met him.
Yeah.
That's sweet. And he's helped with that, right? Obviously, like...
Oh, most definitely.
Exactly. So that's another good point, is that, you get to grow with somebody where they can encourage you and empower you. I would tend to agree with that. I would say it's actually double-sided. Growing together is good, and also not so good when you fall in love so young, but we'll get to that bit afterwards. I think another good thing about falling in love young is that you can have that time to really establish your relationship before you decide you're going to get married.
Because there isn't the pressures for that.
Exactly. There's no pressure for that straight away, because you're not sort of getting on in age, or what people think is getting on in age. You have the opportunity to just grow together and grow in your love, nurture your love, and even actually find out what love is. Like, you think what older people think they know what love is, so they go looking for it, and they're like, I know what it is now because I'm older, I'm supposed to know what love is. But when you're young, you have no idea what love is, and you're just sort of just drifting along, but it gives the opportunity for it to be organic. That
is the thing, isn't it? There isn't a time constraint. That's what's really nice about it, is that you can explore, like you can take time with it, you can not have pressure for it, because no one's saying to you when you're 19, no one's like, when you're getting married, when you're having kids, it's like, what's happening here,
Yeah.
Nobody expects that from you, and so you really can just take the time to enjoy each other.
Exactly. Yeah, take time to enjoy each other and, you know, the space that you're in and all of that. So yeah, that's for me is a plus, is learning what love is and growing that love, because there's no time, you know, ticking time bomb that way.
Yeah.
Let me see other pluses of falling in love young. Like sometimes it's hard to pull them out, but you've been through it. I mean, looking back on my relationship, or should I say our relationship, you also get to appreciate the world in a way differently, because you get to do lots of fun things together. Not that you can't do fun things together when you're older, but you don't have the commitments of having a full-time job. Like, you know, when you're younger, you're studying, you're having days off where you're not at uni, or days off when you're not, you know, at college or whatever. And you have the opportunity to go out with that person or go here with that person and have new, different experiences, where you can't say, oh, I've got to take a day off work, you know, or adulty, I've got to take a day off work to do this, you know. You're sort of free-flowing that way. And you can say, oh, let's go out here or go cinema tonight or whatever. And you think, oh, it's a late night. Who cares? I ain't got work tomorrow, you know?
Yeah, because if you remember that time, like, because like, even if you've not been in a relationship from very young, or your relationship hasn't lasted into like, you know, this phase of life, it's not lasted the time. A lot of people would have had a relationship around that age, whether it lasted or not, turned into marriage or whatever. And what is really nice is if you remember those carefree days, like, especially like those like teenage days, those early 20 days, they're very carefree.
Oh,
like you'll just do fun stupidness together. And so like, and because you've got that foundation of just doing fun random rubbish, it means that, you know, you've always got that to draw on to.
Yeah.
But as you get older, that kind of frivolous
spontaneity, it kind of disappears. Responsibility kicks in hard, so you don't have the space for that. I mean, it's funny you say all this. I remember days where, reminiscing, I remember days where you know, Daryl and I used to go to London just to walk around on Oxford Street to do nothing, and then we'd go grab some ice cream, and sometimes we'd be out late and just walking along the Thames and just chilling and relaxing. And it wasn't like there was anything to go to the next day, because we were young, we ain't working. Like, you know, we're just enjoying each other's company and building that sort of friendship part of our relationship. You know, that was great. Loved it, absolutely loved it. And I'm not even going to get started with the reminiscing.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can can do that when because you can do that when you're older, in it. But I just feel like the frivolity of youth, you know, like of that, just like that late teen, early 20 kind of life is a special place. And I think any kind of relationship, you can often draw that out of somebody, like later on. But when you've already started that foundation without having to draw it out, it's just naturally there. Yeah. It's something you can always kind of hark back to.
Yeah. Whenever you're having rough times as well, when you're older, you can just remember the good times. And I'm always felt, I was like, oh, you're always talking about, you know, you love to talk about these things. And because I have a very good memory, and I have a very good memory for detail, especially. I'm like, oh, do you remember when we did that? Or when we did that? And he's like, no. But, you know, it just gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling inside, because you started out young, you know, young and footloose and fancy free, as they say. So yeah, definitely a plus is that, you know, that natural spontaneity that comes with just being young and you know, having to grow up together. Definitely a plus of falling in love young. Yeah, definitely.
And the thing is, with like growing up, so going from your going through your 20s and everything, and then your teenagehood, a lot of your relationships will change. We've had the episode talking about friendship.
Oh yeah,
how things change all the time. But when you've got a partner that kind of has gone with you from young and stuck with you, I think another pro
sticked.
Yeah, sorry. I think another pro of it is that you've always got someone to do something with. So you know, like I remember times where I want to do something and like, you know, friends weren't about or whatever, but like I had
Raph was there,
like I always had someone to do something with it. I didn't have to like you know, scramble for like a cinema day or anything like that, or I've got like, you know, a show that I want to go to. It's like, oh no, like I've always got my person.
Yeah, he's always gonna say yes.
Yeah, like that was nice, because when the friends and all the commitments happen, they kind of all wait like. Wayne and stuff. They're always there.
On that point, that's true. We're not obviously talking about that like in any depth now, but I remember days when I used to say, this is the heights of it, guys. Like I said to Daryl, so he's from sort of North London, and I used to go get my nails done in South London. So I used to say, oh, Daryl, you gonna come with me to get my nails done? Yeah, okay then. So he just used to come down and just, we used to just travel down on the underground and we'd just, get out of Brixton, take the bus, and we're just there. He was just sitting with me just to get my nails done. And then we'd go back and get some chips on the way home, back to where he is, and then we just chill, and relax. Like the silliest things. He's got no interest in nails or no interest in sitting in a bar, in a hairdresser or anything like that, but he'll come with me. Just like you said, like you've got your person. They'll just come and chill with you kind of thing. So that is great as well. And, Daryl, thank you so much. Thank you so much for come with me to the nail shop. But those are moments where you get to, like, that's your bestie, innit? Regardless of how your other friendships and relationships are going, that is your bestie. That's your person, as you said. And you just have the time, always have someone to hang out and chill with.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And those are some of the nice things, isn't it? And also, I have friends that haven't found love young or are even like now coming to their 30s, still not with a partner at the moment. I have family members that haven't gotten, like, I have family members that are in their 50s and they're single and everything like that. And although I would say the majority of those people that are in my life, they're very fulfilled and very content and everything, a lot of them still do want that partnership, that companionship.
Yeah.
And it can cause, like, some stresses as well, not having that partner. And so a massive positive is the fact that, like, I haven't had to experience that.
Yeah.
So I know that can be a struggle for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so
I think, I keep cutting you off, but you know what? Like, do you think that if you, I always joke about this with Daryl, like, if you hadn't met Raf, do you think you'd be married now?
I have absolutely no idea, because I literally cannot imagine, like,
life without
meeting
him.
Another person. Or meeting another person.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a question I
because
often think
when
about.
I met him, I wasn't really I wasn't looking for a relationship.
Same. I wasn't looking for one either, but it just happened naturally. But I often say, and I always say, Daryl, if you went around, do you think I would? He's like, yeah, man, like, you're cute. Yeah, definitely. You'd find someone. I'm like, oh yeah, you always say that. But
Raph says this. Raph thinks I would have gotten married.
Yeah.
But he didn't think he would be.
Yes, the exact same thing. He's like, oh yeah, but I wouldn't be with anyone. And I'm like, what is this? What is this nonsense? Was I only ever the person for you, whatever. But I mean, I don't know, if I was older and like at this age now and I hadn't found anyone, I don't know how I'd feel. I'd probably feel really awkward about it, because I guess deep down in each one of us, we do want that companionship, whether we like to admit it or not. It is something that we want. So we would maybe at this age start to think, and you know what people like, they're asking bare questions all the time, and you're just like, oh, please,
I don't know how I'd fare with, like, the dating world, because the thing is, I've never experienced the dating world.
Same.
Because before Raph, I had one other boyfriend. I've only ever had one, and we weren't even together a year. But that wasn't even dating either. That was something that I knew from, like, childhood, and we just ended up going out for a bit, and then
that wasn't really like a love thing.
No. And then when I met Raph, it was just like, there was no games or pretend. I think because I was so young, there was no, like, this is what I should do and this is what I shouldn't do. Literally, like I said, we started talking properly in February. We went on a couple kind of dates. Like, he came with me to a fashion show. I went with him and some friends to a circus show. I don't know why all these random shows are happening. They're like uni events, just random stuff. And then he came around to my flat, actually, my hall as a resident, and he helped me to revise for an anatomy exam. And I don't know if he thought he was coming around for something else, because he got there and I was like, here's my books, here's dinner, I've cooked, and here's my books, and start examining. It's like, start testing me. So that was that. And then we, like, went out for a date. We went to Nando's.
Oh, good old Nando's.
Good old Nando's, you know what I mean? Like, and because I was young, it was like, people would be like, how can Nando's be your first date? But I don't know, I was 19.
Listen, sometimes there's no pressure with these things. Like, we put too much pressure sometimes on what we should have and all of that. It's too much pretense. Just chill with the thing. I mean, I'm not saying McDonald's, but
Yeah, exactly. We went to Nando's, and Nando's, like, in 2011, 2012 was, like, not bad.
Yeah, it was just, newish kind of thing.
So, I went to Nando's, I went to Arcade, and then I went away back home for the Easter break, and over Easter we spoke so much, and then when I got back, he came round, like, immediately the night that I got back, and I was like, the next day I was like, okay, so what, I'm a girlfriend and boyfriend now,
Well, you said that.
Like, what? Yeah, I was like, oh, so was that all right? So what's our anniversary? yeah, so that's our anniversary date. Okay, cool. And he's like, oh, yeah, cool. I was like, no, but I was like,
you guys are
we're going out
playing
now.
coy. You guys are playing coy, man.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. There was no games. I was like, we're together, yeah? Like,
and he was just cool with it. Like, yeah, okay then.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not beating around the bush. Like, we're together, we're not. And yeah,
so wait, did you actually express your intentions before you said that, or was that the first time you guys had expressed?
Oh no, we always knew that we were even though we started off with like friendship and talking, we were always romantic friendship. So like, he would make sure to drop me home from like a Bible study, and I remember once like the first time he dropped me, he made sure that he dropped me home last, and then he made sure to tell me that he does not have a girlfriend. And that was like the first Bible study, the first time we were alone. The first time we were alone together, he had to tell me I do not have a girlfriend. And then we went on quite a few dates.
Yeah.
And we were like getting to know each other. And we used to give each other like 5 random facts a day of each other about each other.
You guys are
and so it was always going down there.
You guys are cheese, okay?
Yeah,
cheese and bread.
But those are some of the beautiful parts of getting together young. But it's not all, you know, like rainbows and fairy dust and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And there are quite a few bits that are difficult. You started off with one. You said that there was a double-edged sword to growing together.
Yes.
What do you mean?
Yeah. So, yeah, it is kind of a blessing and a curse at the same time. Reason is because when you grow together, you experience, especially when you're obviously like male, female, you experience different things as individuals. So, you know, for example, I don't know, a guy, because women are sort of like naturally romantic, just intrinsically. I've got to be careful what I say here now. And men are, it almost has to be cultivated at times. They may have wandering eyes at times because they're young and they've, you know, they've got to almost get it out their system in a way, you know. You may have a situation where either of you actually have wandering eyes, and you think, oh, I'm not here for this is long, and then you have a downer in your relationship, and you know, ups and downs, peaks and troughs kind of thing. So growing together, and like I said, puberty is a big thing as well. It can change it completely changes people, you know, depending on how young you get together and how young or old you start, you know, puberty, or you're still going through it, you know, in your mid-teens, you're still going through all of that. So
you have like a second puberty in it during your mid-20s.
Well, there we go. The doctor speaks. But, you know, you're going through all of that. So that means like, especially if you're from a Christian background, which we are, things like premarital sex, like all of that becomes a massive challenge because, you know, a male may be thinking, oh, yeah, rah, 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 hormones are raging. And you as a female, obviously not thinking that way like 100% of the time as men are. And, you know, because you're growing together, you have to navigate that. Especially if you're, you know, fairly religious, or you're not religious, but you've just decided that you want to abstain. You know, it is difficult when you've been together for so long before you get married, and you decide, actually, you don't want to go down that path. We want to wait until we get married. That's one of the sort of cons of getting together so young, is because you're not old enough to have that connection with someone yet, because you're not mature enough. And of course, the levels of maturity as well, like, are completely whack sometimes, especially for males. Let's be honest, it's whack. So, you know, you go through so many changes as males. Women are going to mature quicker than you most times. So, you know, the levels of maturity are not matching yet. So that is a massive con.
2 things. Oh, there's a few things that you said there. So I guess, first of all, you can see the difference of, like, we were a bit older than you and Daryl. So Raf was 23 when we started dating.
So he was already a bit more...
Yeah, and Raf says that if I met him when he was my age, 19, 18, we wouldn't have been together. I wouldn't have tolerated any of his folly. Like, he's like, no. If I met him at that age, he goes, he wasn't in the place. Like, he was what you just said, in it. Like, he wasn't in that mindset.
And that's only a few years.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have lasted. And so I understand that. So definitely going through those periods as well. But also, in terms of growing together, making sure that you actually grow together. I think like there's going to be so many things that come into life, and like you're just navigating so many transitions. When in your 20s, there's just so many transitions that happen because you're really going from a young adult that's really taken care of by your family and don't have that many responsibilities into full adulthood.
Yeah.
And when you're doing that, so many things can change. You can like question your values and your religion, your faith. You can question like, you know, the kind of person you want to be, how you want to dress, what kind of, like you're just questioning
your
everything.
Personality, everything, your character. Yeah, everything.
You're questioning everything. And so when you get with somebody young and you are trying to stay together, as those changes happen, making sure that you're growing together and that it's not just going off like this.
Yeah.
You know, that you keep bringing yourselves together.
At the same time.
That's another difficulty of like being with someone so young. Whereas when you get with somebody older, and like I said, you're not at that like that foundation stage. You've built some things, you've achieved something, you've gone through some life. You know what you're about. You know what your values are. You know what you appreciate, your priorities, and you meet somebody then. I can imagine that staying on track together, although we're having challenges, might be a bit easier compared to when it's just that time of life where everything's all over the place.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah. I thought of another con, literally. Why are these cons coming so quickly? Guys, and we're not trying to say...
I'm not even joking. I think you can maybe tell. We were like, falling in love, you know, these beautiful parts to it.
But the reality
but let me tell you.
Different. Yeah, honestly, it's different. Another con, and I wouldn't say it's necessarily, when you think about it deeply, it's not really a con, but when you're in it and you're the person that's fallen in love young, it is a con for you. And it's a long day if you have to deal with this. Parents,
let's talk about parents. But you know what, just before we go into parents, I don't want to forget this. When you said about if you're trying to abstain and not have sex before marriage, getting with somebody young, honestly,
it's almost a recipe for disaster.
That is one of the most frustrating things ever. And the amount of times before we got married that I would say to Raf, I wish I met you older. I wish I met you when I was older.
Yeah.
So that we could just get married now.
Yeah.
I said that so many
hard.
times.
It's really difficult. And even in the Bible, it speaks about it. It's better for you to just get married than for you to
Oh, yeah. What did my grandma say to me all the time? My grandma would call me like, Amanda, remember, it's better to get married than to sin.
Yeah.
To get married.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Agreed,
and
guys.
So it's really difficult.
It is hard. It's not the easiest thing to navigate at all. But, you know, like the Bible says, we fall down, but we get up. You know, we have to just keep it moving, definitely. But I think for sure, like, the whole parents thing. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, parents. Listen.
Long day.
Yeah. You know what it is? It's because for parents, I think, what does somebody call this? Someone that I listened to online, he calls it like the white bottom syndrome, or like the powdered bum syndrome. He's like, if you have changed somebody's nappies, it's very hard to take them seriously as adults. Like it takes you a while to get there.
Yeah. I eat your kids.
So it takes a while to get there. And so when you've gotten with somebody young, because like, especially like before the time where everyone expects it and stuff, that can be your parents kind of coming to terms with it.
Yeah, definitely about coming to terms with that whole transition of my child is starting a relationship with a person, it's getting serious, emotions are involved, because they always just want to protect you from everything, especially when you're young. The classic line is, and you know what, I see it now, you know, mum and dad, I see it now. The classic line is, you've got a whole life ahead of you. You've got to complete your studies. Don't start with this entanglement now. Like, make sure you get your career sorted, get yourself settled in, you know, into life, into a rhythm, into adulthood, and then think about someone. Because guess what? If they're as young as well, they're also not established.
Yeah, and the thing is, a lot of the time, in a lot of situations, they are right.
Yeah, I agree.
In our situation, they weren't right because we've lasted and we're now like
married with kids. Yeah.
But in a lot of situations, they are right. Some of the cautions they gave me with the relationship before RAF were right. I didn't want to listen at the time, but they were right what they were saying about it. But also like, so my parents, they wanted us to get married even later than we got married. And I remember being told like, why don't you just wait another year?
And you were like, I don't want to.
I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. But like they.
No, I'm not going to do that.
No, but thank you for the suggestion. But yeah, like I just think they have a lot of cautionary tales to have, and I think it's just a lot of the time they are right. I remember my dad sitting down with me and being like, "Okay, Amanda, you're with this guy, yeah." You're doing medicine at the moment.
I bet you that was such a long day convo. Like you must have been.
Day. Oh. It was a long day. He's like, you're doing medicine, you know. What's he doing? And obviously, like, it's early days, isn't it? Like, he's got a full-on career now. Yeah. But he's like, you know, what's he doing? Think about when you finish and you've got your events with, like, you know, similarly minded people. How is he going to fare with those conversations? I'm like, Daddy's not an idiot. But it's conversations like that. And yeah, it's like you've got to do a lot more convincing. Yeah. And I think it's also because your parents know that maybe you're not fully established yourself. Are you making the right decision?
Yeah, or you're not fully mature and they might be able to see it from the outside.
You're not fully mature. Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like now, if I was dating now and I brought somebody, they would appreciate my judgment more than... Yeah.
Yeah.
They did at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a long day.
Yeah, definitely. Like, there is a lot to say about rose-tinted glasses when you've fallen in love with somebody, like, you like them and, I love them. Like, there is a lot to be said from a parent's perspective about that. And a lot of the times, guys, they are right. Listen to your parents, if they're sensible, obviously. And definitely do... Obviously, when you're like at our big age, like your judgment's different, isn't it? But when you're
when you're young,
yeah, definitely take the advice that your parents are giving more time.
Wise counsel.
Yeah, exactly. Heed wise counsel because definitely it does pay off. But in our cases, we have been blessed because, like you said, we're married to the same guys.
But you know what? There is just one more con. I know we need to start wrapping things up as well because I don't want to keep you. I don't want it to be a long day this episode for you guys as well. But there is just another thing that I found because what I found being in a relationship from so young and for so long can also start to define you.
Oh, like, yes.
You know, you're known as Amanda and Raph, not just Amanda.
Or just Raph.
Or just Raph, or like it's Cerise and Daryl, like you come as a package.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, and it's sometimes like, okay, and sometimes you can get lost in that role of girlfriend, wife, whatever it is when it happens so young, and especially when it's happening at those building blocks.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I always had someone to do something with. Like a lot of the time, I wouldn't be going to the restaurant by myself or doing travel by myself or anything like that. I would be with Raph, and I saw my friends who were single actually being able to explore things by themselves a bit more.
Yeah.
And maybe getting a stronger kind of
sense of self.
That's it. A stronger sense of self before I was able to. And I think even though it was beautiful and it's lovely that we got together so young, and I wouldn't have changed any of it.
No, even now, I wouldn't go back and change it.
Yeah, I wouldn't go back and change it. But I think that whole finding yourself when you
episode number 4.
Yeah, exactly. Number 4. If you're not, I don't say entangled, because that's all negative, isn't it? But if you're not kind of into a relationship at the time, you can do that self-work and like find yourself a bit more and explore a bit more and have a bit more fun like that. But when you're in a relationship, it can start to define things for you as well.
Yeah. I see what you mean when you say that, especially if you are in that relationship long term and then it doesn't work out. Like, wow, you'll find yourself in pieces. I've seen it time and time again with younger people where it's like, that was their everything. They start thinking that they're going to be planning a wedding playlist on Spotify, like all kind of foolishness and folly, which to be fair, we probably did the same thing. But like, then it doesn't come to fruition. Like it just ends up being just another relationship. And for me, I always intended to date with a view to get married. I'm not dating just for fun.
Yeah, same here.
None of that, and I made that abundantly clear to Daryl from the beginning. He was the same way, and I think it's important that you get with someone who has that mindset too, because then they'll appreciate that the ups and the downs are worth going through, because actually that's life, that's real life.
Yeah. And the issue for me though, because I have that in mind, and because I had that immaturity because I was younger and I really hadn't experienced more relationships. I hadn't experienced how different, how I feel like when you've had the opportunity, maybe not intentionally, but you've had the opportunity to have multiple relationships, it kind of shows you what you need and what you want and what you like and everything.
Maybe narrows it down to something that you can, a bit more definitive.
But like, because of like the naivety of things, and because I was like, this is the person I want to marry, I felt like I moved on to doing wife duties
straight
when I was still girlfriend.
Yeah. Oh, guys,
I felt like we were too.
That's another episode.
We were too full on from too early on.
Oh yeah.
But if I had the opportunity when I'm older to get married, if we were older, that time of being girlfriend wouldn't have been so long. We would have graduated to wife. I would have been more mature. I would have been able to keep those, be a girlfriend
and then
move on to be a wife.
Yeah.
But I was doing too many wifely things when I was in girlfriend time.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably where the identity came in. And then expectations, when you go into marriage from such a young age and you're doing all the things, or you're trying to live up to your expectations because you only see things from an immature kind of point of view, then you're in marriage and there's all these expectations that are there.
Yeah.
And then life starts lifing, and then you've got to be like stripping things back and... Yeah, getting married young.
That thing about wifing when you're still a girlfriend is a whole other conversation that we'll have to have at a later date. So guys, watch out for that one. But yeah, that one it's like licorice. You can hardly chew it properly, because honestly, like I would say I did become like a wife, obviously before I was actually officially a wife. But it paid off for us, But more times than not, it doesn't always pay off, guys.
Yeah,
we're dealing with real people.
It paid off.
But
I feel like I still wouldn't say to do it.
Yeah.
Even if you end up marrying them in the end, when you are not the wife, do not act like the wife.
Thank you. And on that note,
yeah, I think we're done. Falling in love young, it's beautiful. Let us know. Are you married? Are you in a long-term relationship? When did you get together? And if you...
How did it start? We want to know.
Yeah, how did it start? And if you have been in a relationship from a young age, or you had relationships at a young age, what happened to them? Did they last the course of time, test of time? Did they end, and how did you deal with all of that? Let's get the conversation going.
Yeah. We want to know about even the heartbreak if it didn't go all the way, all of that. And what advice you'd have to give as well. What are your pros and cons? We'd want to know, guys. Guys. So
great talking to you guys. Don't forget, we are back every single week with more conversations, and you can talk to us. We are not just here on the podcast world. We're here on YouTube at Sis Pod. We are on Instagram at so.sis.podcast, and on all those platforms you can interact with us.
Please do.
Let us know what kind of topics you want to hear about.
Yeah, definitely. We want to know what you guys want to chat about. Even current affairs, and all of that. If you guys got anything that you think is an interesting question or want to know our opinion on it, then we're here to tell you what we think. So, till next time, guys. Toodles. Happy falling in love young.
Bye.
Bye.